Hello everyone, this is Antonio from Random Stuff channel, and I'm making this quick video. I'll try and make it as brief as I can. Requested by one of my subscribers who liked the one I made for my 2016 device that I was using at the time, and I wanted to see one for my current device. So in 2017, this is how I've customized my device. This is what's on my Android, and I'll start off with going through the different pages. As you can see down the bottom, I've got 5 pages. So this is the home page. Then I've got a page with something here. I will go through them in a second. As far as applications are concerned, if we swipe up on here, I've got it configured with a Nova launcher to show me the app drawer. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 6. So it's 30 apps per page times 9 pages. That's almost 300 applications. Now I have that many applications, not because I really use them all the time, but just because I can, and I don't see the point in deleting them when they're taking no resources from my phone. The battery optimization in version 7 of Nougat is absolutely fantastic, and I get much better battery life. If I go to about phone, common, let's go to software information, you can see I've got 7.0. The Nova launcher is been my favorite for a very long time, and as you can see here, to get into the Nova launcher, I've actually locked the desktop so that icons can't be moved around. So let's just unblock that, and if I go to the settings, if I look at the section for look and feel, the icon theme that I've used in the past has been Fab Icon Pack. There's been others, but I'm currently preferring to use the system one. So system one gives a nice, clean look. I'll show you in a second. And as far as the gestures and inputs, I've got the OK Google hot word that works from any screen. Even when the screen is turned off, it actually listens to my voice and does what I tell it to do. The gestures are set up to do the following. So swipe up is the app drawer, swipe down is the notifications, double tap is screen lock, double tap, swipe up is nothing. Well, I could configure it, but you get the idea. Okay, so if I go up, there's my apps, and we'll go through them in a minute. But let's start with the main page. So on the main page, I've got my favorite weather and clock widget, which is the weather and clock widget. And if I just quickly show you, if I go backwards this way, where is it? There, this one here. Weather and clock widget, really good, excellent application. You can customize the color of the clock, the icons to display the weather in hourly format, to show the moon rise, the moon, sequences and all that kind of stuff. The tides, temperatures, battery display. There's lots and lots and lots of stuff that you can do with it. I've just put it on as simple as I can, just with the location, the temperature, and the time. And I've also got the alarm clock in there as well. As you can see, there's one alarm set for 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, if hit on the time, it takes me to the clock application, which is I can't sleep. And basically, you can set some alarms with mathematical equations or patterns or things to scan in order to not just snooze and not wake up. I need to buy this application because those ads are quite annoying. If I hit the moon or the sun, whatever it is, it takes me into the settings, and within the settings I can go into the widget settings and change things like the transparency, the text color, the font, etc., and the default applications. Below that, I've got my Google Fit. Don't need to go into that really. It just measures the steps that I take. and it's linked into other applications. I have this little application here, which is fantastic. Starting redial services on, redial services off. So basically when that's on, I've configured it in such a way, and you do that via the settings here through auto redial settings there. Okay, let's do allow and allow. I'm not going to go into every single app. It will take too long. The next thing I can talk about is the little face here with the eyes. This is Circle Launcher, and this is how I actually access my contacts on the phone. I've changed them just for this video's purposes, for this video, so that I don't, put somebody's face on there that they don't want to be on video. But you'll get the idea. It's very configurable. I've purchased this app. It's really cool. You hit the face, and I've configured it to make a sound as well. Not sure if you heard that. And then you've got the applications, and I can also select them, and that makes a sound as well, and a pretty cool animation effect as well. If I keep my finger on it, I can actually go and change the launcher type, the selected contacts, the type of launcher style. I can back up and I can restore, which is what I will do afterwards. So that's pretty cool. Then on the main page, I've got access to Facebook accounts, Twitter, and going down from the right, we'll go into the Google Apps. As you can see, the standard icon pack in Nova Launcher gives me very clear, crisp icons for every single application that I may want to use. So Photos looks really clear, as does Drive and Maps. I find the other icon packs tend to have like shades, and they're a bit dark. It's very difficult to see what they are, and with so many applications, sometimes it is quite difficult. I've noticed that there's one application that shouldn't be in there, and that's the Pocket. This one here, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Pocket Now. Really cool app. In fact, I've got it in my favorites, which is the next one down there. It's called Pocket. So yeah, in Google, I've got these typical apps as you would expect. Prime Photos is there only because it's in a handy place next to the other photos, as I back up my photos and videos into two separate places online, just for security. I know some people will debate whether it's that secure, but I don't care. I've got them on hard disks as well. Then further down, I've got my favorite apps. They're not all the apps that I use, but as I find myself using more and more certain apps, I tend to put them in here. A couple of apps to mention. ACR to record calls is great. Android Pay, Kakao Talk, Prime Photos, Pocket Now, or whatever you want to call it. I think it's called just Pocket. There it is. It's basically a list of documents, and not documents, websites that you've saved on the desktop, and they can be accessed from any machine, also from any device, should I say, not machine, unless it's a desktop. Quora is another cool one. Basically, you can spend some time just reading some silly things on here. Well, not too silly, but questions like, for example, how would the Romans do in a battle against a modern army of soldiers, things like that. Other than that, I've got your obvious LinkedIn, Gumtree, eTrade, OneNote. I've got OneDrive in there, StoreCard, TransferWise, which is an excellent application to transfer money across from one country to another, AdSense, and so forth. There's so many on that one there. Then tools, I've got a list of tools here. The white icon here is the battery consumption tool. I've got some tape measures and applications to calculate sizes and weights and things like that. TeamViewer, MacroDroid, which I will touch upon before I finish the video, because that's my new favorite application. It has replaced Llama, which was the location based on cell towers, which was great, but it seems to have broken in version 7. The developer is no longer working on that application, so unfortunately we've had to use alternatives, and I think MacroDroid is possibly the nearest or the best one that I found that allows me to add cells and do background scanning and create a really smart phone in that it will change depending on the location that it's at. So if it's at home, it does a certain thing, and if it's at work, it does another thing, etc. So let's move out of this one, and then we'll go to the sports apps. I've only got 2 in there, BBC Sport and Formula 1. I could have boxing, and I do have boxing, you know, as you see down there, I've got some boxing apps that boxing news at the top. They should be in there. Maybe I'll put them in there afterwards. Browsers, I've got rid of Firefox and Maxton as browsers that I've used in the past. Chrome is my main de facto browser, as they say, and in combination with Lookout, which is, where is it? Lookout should be in there, but it's not. There, is there. So with Lookout, it's a security measure. Whenever I click on the browser, you know, it creates that padlock on the very top, as you can see. So and the message tells you there that it's actually safe browsing. So it goes through some kind of VPN, although I do have my own purchased VPN, which is really great, and that could have a video all on its own. My favorite VPN, which is TorGuard. Okay, so moving along, I've got Dolphin and Puffin and CM browsers. I do occasionally use them, but Chrome is the main one that I use. Finally, the last folder is the Maps or Navigation folder, where I have Waze, which is a great way to find you know, the location of a place and get there very quickly. Sorry, not very quickly, in the fastest way, but not necessarily the shortest way. Waze is part of the family of Google, it's owned by Google, but I still think Google Maps is my the main application that I use. I've used others in the past, but I think here Maps and Google Maps are probably the best ones for me. Okay, moving on, at the very top left I've got Should I Answer. I won't go into that, but that's a really cool application because it allows my phone to block known nuisance calls, marketing calls, telemarketeers calling saying you've been involved in an accident, can we help you, blah blah blah, all these scams. Now I've got down the bottom my list of applications in the dock, and if I swipe to the right hand side, I've got my gallery, eBay. If I swipe up on eBay, it becomes Amazon. I've got Outlook. I've got the new app AliExpress, which I haven't used yet, and I'm currently evaluating whether it's a good app or not. Skype, and then I've got SoundHound, and Shazam is below it. So if I go up, it becomes Shazam, as you can see, and if I hit just once, it's SoundHound. Come on, come out. Okay, so next one is the Evernote application, which I'm using less and less at the moment because there's so many other apps out there. They're all good, but you can't use them all. My last page of the doc, I've got three pages, is the Google Translate. Then I've got the Dropbox. I've got the ES File Explorer. I purchased that. That's a really good app. I've got the MyFitnessPal, my contacts there, and then I've got Local Phone, which is a great application for saving money with using local numbers or Wi-Fi. And then I've got Ultracon, which is just a stopwatch that I purchased, which I quite like. It's pretty cool. So that's the docs and the first page covered. Then on the second page, I've got my application for all the goals and all the soccer matches across the globe that I follow. I've got my leagues in here, you know, the teams that I follow. You know, I could go into this, but it's just going to take too long. You get the idea. I can just follow the teams that I want. I can set alarms. You know, I can say, right, this game here coming up, for example, this one. I can select it. I can view the stats. I can put a reminder. It puts it into my calendar. It's really, really good application. I am really, really pleased with that. Below it, I've got the Keep application from Google, a quick list I can put in there, or notes of things that need to be done. I can put a voice note. I can actually do a pen and draw something like a map. I can also take a picture and save it into my Google Keep, which is a great way of synchronizing every single note that you have on all devices. Really, really good application, that. Then below it, you've got YouTube, then a couple of photo apps. In theory, I could have Snapseed in there from that page. Maybe I'll put it afterwards. And then for games, I've only got a few games, silly little games. The last one that I've downloaded is Sonic. It's the full version of Sonic, and fair play to Sega. I think that's the company that makes it, if I remember well. But it's a really nice, fully functional and fast game to play. It plays really well on this particular phone as well. I have to say, LG V20 is a powerhouse of a phone. It has very good performance with the camera, and also with the gamings, with the few games that I've played. Next page, I've got my BBC widgets. So I've got, at the top I have a widget for the news worldwide, and below I've got just BBC Sports News. As you can see, what happened today. Federer won his 8th Wimbledon title, which is fantastic. I think no one's done that before. I think that's even more than Pete Sampras. And some other news there. Then on the next page, I've got a couple of widgets. The top one is the Google Music widget, which is great. I love it. I do have synchronizations, and I've got access to my folders with music as well. And it shows always the last song that I play. So Dionne Warwick is the last one that I played on that one there. She's fantastic. And then below that, another great artist, David Bowie. The 2 albums from Heroes are absolutely amazing. One song is better than the other. Really, really great album. I don't really use them that much anymore, because I tend to use more Spotify and TuneIn. So if I go to the gym, for example, I'll put either of the two. But often I'll put TuneIn, because I can get into local radios, or any radios from different countries that sometimes I listen to as well. I also use podcasts to listen to specific podcasts, as I say, about certain things. And the top, you've got the radio, FM radio. Great that we have that. I don't unfortunately use it very often at all. I have used it, but there's no point with the amount of data that I have, with the package that I'm on with 3. It's really, it's no problem to stream all day, because I'll never use enough to even go anywhere near my data consumption. I've got unlimited. So okay, next page, I've got the calendar widget from Calendar Plus, another purchased app. Fantastic app. Allows me to have this beautiful widget of the week in progress. It's very bland, because I've deliberately moved ahead in time to somewhere where there isn't much on. But you can see there's one of my favorite apps. It shows me McGregor-Mayweather fight, which everyone probably knows about. If I show you here, there's this boxing scheduler. This is something that you can actually add as a calendar to Google Calendar, and you'll get a list of events that you're interested in posted into your calendar, as long as you share it and you view it in your calendar. So I'm really pleased with that. That's really excellent. So that's really it. That's the whole setup of my Android. I'll as I mentioned before, I do want to touch very briefly on MacroDroid. This is a great application to replace Llama. Unfortunately, it's not continuing. If I go to here, the menu, cell towers, you can basically see you have the amount of cells in a specific area. So I've got 3 areas that I've configured, and they're not as many as they were with Llama for some reason, but they are quite accurate. and I can actually hit the menu at the top there and add any cells that is picked up on recently. So it's very easy to add on to those. You can also do a scan in the background for an hour or 10 minutes or 4 hours or 8 hours, etc. I've created 12 macros. You've also got some templates that you can actually view. I'm not going to make a review of this app unless I really have to. I can export and import my list so that I can put them onto another device, or if I restore, and I can add a macro on the top right, as you can see there. Just briefly have a look at mine. I've got one for battery saving. So if the battery gets to 100, I've told it to actually, basically the trigger is when it's 100%. It has to say battery full, so that's literally a voice that says that. Let's see if I can test that. If I just hit that and do configure,
battery full,
stuff like that. And then I've told it to wait for the next action, so it waits a minute to end the loop. Also, there's a couple of macros. If the battery reaches 5%, to send a text message to certain people. Then there's when you enter the home area, for example, when you hit the cells in the home area, I've told it to change the volume to, for example, as you can see, maximum volume on almost everything. To speak a voice to say home area detected. I've told it to immediately change the icon at the very top, so it's got the shape of a house there, the icon of a house. And I've told it to disable Bluetooth unless it's connected to the audio of the car, the Bluetooth of the car. I've told it to enable Wi-Fi, to do the auto sync is on, and then there's a constraint. If the auto sync is disabled, to turn it on. If it's not disabled, then obviously don't do anything. Similarly, when I exit home, I've told it to, so basically when I leave the area, the cells that I've set, it has to disable Wi-Fi, it has to change the volume to the maximum volume. I've enabled the vibrate when ringing, and also auto sync is on. If auto sync is disabled, speak the text to say that I've actually left the home area, and set the MacroDroid icon to a different icon. So I've changed it to have it's like a little running man that indicates to me when I look at the screen, because the V20, as you know, has this always on screen at the top. I can just, at a glance, I can see what profile is actually running on my device, which is similar to what Llama used to do, where I was able to choose an orange icon or a cyan color one, or white, etc. There's lots that you can do with this. I've also got a really cool Bluetooth one, which I'll show you briefly. It's quite impressive because the trigger is if it detects motion. So the moment the device detects via MacroDroid that I'm actually moving, it actually says, car moving detected, I'm turning Bluetooth on. That's the text that I've told it to say. I mean, I can make it shorter if I want, or longer. But basically, it will enable Bluetooth if it's disabled. The constraint is the green bit. So if it's disabled, it will enable it, and then it will wait for the next action, 6 seconds, and then it will try to connect to the audio, which in this case is the Ford audio stereo. And then if the device is not connected for the Ford audio, wait for 1 minute 30 seconds, and then disable Bluetooth. And the constraint on that is if the device is not connected to the Ford audio Bluetooth. Sounds a bit complicated, but it isn't. Really good. I'm really happy with this application. It's great. So I think that's about it, really. I hope this is giving somebody an idea of what they can do to customize their Android device to make it look however they want. I'll change maybe the background. I'll change the wallpaper just to show you some other cool ones. Let's choose this red one. I'm into the red colors lately. Let's see how this one looks. Yeah, that looks nice. Or actually, there's one with oranges in it. That one. Yeah, that looks really nice. Ruby red oranges. But then you can see the clock is not viewable now because it's actually in black text. So just to show you how it works, it's settings, I've got text color, and change it to white, which is 245, 245, 245. Bang, it goes to white. Okay, that's it everyone. I hope this is been useful. Until the next one, take care, cheers, bye.